Welcome to the deep dive.
Hi there.
Today, we're really plunging into the life and, well, the driving forces behind Elon Musk.
Yeah, quite a figure.
Yeah.
Ambitious, turbulent, definitely controversial.
Exactly. We've got a stack of source material here, mostly excerpts from a recent biography.
Right. And our mission, if you will, is to unpack these pages together
We want to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts.
and really try to understand what makes him tick.
Yeah.
Why the huge goals, rockets, cars, AI.
And why all the turbulence, it just seems to follow him.
It really does.
So the sources lay out quite a journey. We're talking South Africa, challenging childhood.
All the way to, the boardrooms, the factories,
Yeah.
beating things that might just remake the world.
Yeah. And it feels like this dive is less about the tech itself, more the personality behind it all.
Exactly. Where do we start? The beginning, I suppose. South Africa, 1980s.
Right. The biography paints a picture of a really violent place back then.
Yeah, machine gun attacks, knife killings,
Yeah.
depressingly common, apparently.
There's one really vivid detail. Elon and his brother Kimball getting off a train.
Oh, yeah. Having to wade through a pool of blood next to a dead person.
Wow. Just wow.
And the sources mention this sound, the sticky sound of blood on their sneakers for the rest of the evening.
That detail alone,
Yeah.
it just hits you. What kind of reality is that for kids?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does that shape your view? Maybe it makes you feel like life is just hard, hostile even.
Right from the start.
Mm-hmm. And there are other early things, too, like the dog attack.
He was 6, German Shepherd.
Yeah, bit a chunk out of his back. But the striking thing is, in the emergency room, he wasn't focused on the pain.
What was he asking?
You're not going to kill him, are you? Talking about the dog.
Really concerned for the dog after it attacked him.
Yeah. It's surprising. Hints at maybe an unusual focus even then.
Fascinating. The sources also bring in his maternal grandfather, Joshua Haldeman.
Ah, yes, the daredevil adventurer type.
Raised on a farm, studied chiropractic, broke horses, traded adjustments for food.
Definitely sounds like where the family's attraction to risk might come from. An unconventional path.
A trait that seems pretty strong in Elon.
Definitely. But school. School sounds like it was incredibly tough for him.
No friends by 2nd grade, just tuning out.
Completely. Teacher yelling, him not seeing or hearing her. Parents called in.
And the principal suggested he was retarded. That's harsh.
Incredibly harsh. His teacher said he'd just look out the window. If she told him to pay attention, he'd say, the leaves are turning brown now.
That disconnection, retreating inward, must have been so isolating.
For sure. And the sources explicitly link this, the bullying he experienced,
To his later actions. How so?
suggesting that when he feels threatened, it takes him back there. And now with his companies, he gets to, quote, own the playground.
So that early trauma is presented as this powerful, ongoing motivator.
Yeah, a really deep-seated thing.
The biography also goes into his parents' relationship. Tumultuous seems like an understatement.
Right. His father, Errol, denies the abuse allegations. Absolute rubbish, he calls them.
Claims he never hit a woman, says their weapons are crying and lying, men's are buying and signing.
That's his account. Says he tried to win May, his wife, back.
But May's story is very different.
Very. She talks about verbal abuse continuing even after apologies, calling her boring, stupid, and ugly.
Errol later admitted fault, though. Said he screwed up, was always looking at other women.
Yeah, he did. They divorced when Elon was 8. So you have these conflicting accounts, the abuse, just a lot of instability at home.
During those really formative years.
Exactly. And after the divorce, money was tight. Really tight.
A one-bedroom apartment. Tosca and May sharing a bed, Elon on the couch.
Yeah. And May crying over spilled milk because they literally couldn't afford more.
That just highlights the precariousness, doesn't it? The real struggle.
Totally. And the whole family scrambled for work. Tosca at a burger joint.
Elon had an internship at Microsoft in Toronto.
Right. And May was working constantly, every day, 4 nights a week. Sunday afternoon, off for laundry.
She said she was hardly at home. Didn't even know what the kids were doing.
That kind of intense focus just to survive, it builds a certain resilience, I guess, forced resilience.
Okay, so moving on to university years. Queen's University in Canada first.
There's a telling story about a strategy game.
The one he figured out how to beat every time.
Yeah, reverse engineered the logic. Didn't just play, he mastered the system.
Classic. Shows that analytical mind, wanting to understand the rules, find the exploit.
Definitely. And he and Kimball had this routine there.
Reading the paper, picking someone interesting.
And Kimball, the more outgoing one, would cold call them for lunch. Elon wasn't the charmer, apparently. Kimball did the networking.
Then he transfers to the University of Pennsylvania, UPenn.
Right. And there he connects with Robin Wren.
The physics Olympiad winner. The only ones supposedly better than him at physics.
That's the one. They did lab work, smashing erasers in liquid nitrogen, studying materials at extreme temps.
And this sparked his interest in visualizing material properties.
Exactly. And according to Wren, this is when Elon started outlining his big three areas.
The career-defining interests. Even back then.
Apparently so. First, rockets. Applying physics, talking about going to Mars. Wren thought he was just fantasizing.
Understandable at the time.
Second, electric cars. Reading papers on batteries. Knew about California's EV mandate. Said, I want to go make that happen. Just like that.
Wow. So direct.
And third,
The internet. The huge wave that eventually pulled him to Silicon Valley.
it's pretty striking how early he identified these massive, seemingly unrelated fields.
Yeah, and how convinced he was, even when they seemed impractical.
The sources also mention his ways of escaping, right? Dealing with the tough childhood, the isolation,
Strategy games like Civilization, Polytopia, getting lost in those worlds.
and reading. Encyclopedias, Hitchhiker's Guide.
Right, seeking the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Deep dives into information.
But also, at Penn, partying. That seems a bit different. Yeah, with this friend Aaresi, a real social animal, loved nightclubs. Apparently helped pull Elon out of his shell a bit.
Ressi sounds like a character, too. Trying to make a revolution major.
Fits the scene, I guess.
And then there's that emerald story. Quite telling.
Ah, yeah. Telling his girlfriend the necklaces were from his dad's emerald mine in South Africa.
Even though the mine was bankrupt. Not an essay, not his dad's, but he gave that impression.
Exactly. Presented as an early sign of maybe embellishment, creating a narrative, something later linked to his father's style, too.
Okay, so from Penn, he heads to Silicon Valley, 1995.
Cross-country trip with Robin Wren. Taught him stick shift on the way.
And they stopped at the Denver airport. Why there?
Musk was fascinated by the automated baggage system. Wanted to see the robotics.
But wasn't that system famously a disaster?
A total mess.
Yeah.
Over-automated, underestimated the complexity. The sources frame it as an early lesson.
That he'd have to relearn the hard way later with Tesla factories. Automation isn't magic.
Right. Needs deep, practical understanding.
He was initially going to Stanford, though. Grad school.
Plan to, yeah. Material science, focusing on capacitors for EVs.
But he worried the PhD might prove it wasn't feasible. Or just be irrelevant.
Both, it seems. Said most PhDs don't move the needle. So, showing that impatience.
He dropped out after just 2 days.
2 days. Jumped right into the internet wave instead.
Wow. And started Zip2 with Kimball.
Tiny office, 2 desks, futons. Slept there, showered at the YMCA for 6 months.
Eating mainly Jack in the Box, Kimball remembers the whole menu.
Seared into his brain, Kimball says. Elon liked the teriyaki bowl. Really captures that raw startup grind.
But the sources say working with Kimball, it was tough, paradoxical.
Yeah, toughest on his own brother. Disagreements escalating to actual fights,
Oh,
rolling
yeah.
on the office floor fights.
In the cubicles, everyone watching.
Apparently, Musk said fighting was just normal growing up in South Africa.
But that one fight, Kimball bit his hand, tore flesh. Elon needed stitches.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Kimball said under stress they just didn't notice anyone else. Later admitted Elon was right about the Zip2 name being shitty, but it shows the sheer intensity.
And there was a major strategy conflict too, right, at Zip2?
Big time. Musk had this true product people drive, wanted to sell directly to consumers.
Not be an unbranded vendor to newspapers.
Exactly. Hated being beholden to the papers. Wanted to buy City.com, compete with Yahoo, AOL, build a destination site.
But the investors, the board,
Yeah,
they saw it differently.
yeah. City guides were everywhere, none making money. The CEO wanted to merge with City Search.
Musk met their CEO, felt uneasy, led a rebellion.
Yep, with Kimball and engineers. Scuttled the merger, then demanded to be CEO himself.
How'd that go over?
Not well. The board removed him as chairman, reduced his role. An early lesson in corporate politics.
So after Zip2 sold, he starts X.com, which becomes PayPal after merging with Confinity.
Peter Thiel's company, right? And more conflicts arose, especially with Max Levchin.
Head of tech. Levchin felt dismissed by Musk, even about fraud issues.
Yeah, Levchin wrote memos, felt Musk gave terse replies. Even when Levchin pioneered the first commercial kept ECHA.
Those squiggly word things.
Right. Musk showed little interest. Levchin found it depressive. Shows maybe a blind spot if it wasn't his core focus.
But Levchin also saw Musk's brilliance, didn't he?
Absolutely. Despite finding him difficult, he marveled at his knowledge. There's that story about the Oracle database problem.
Musk just pokes his head in, gives the exact technical answer, and leaves.
Pretty much. Levchin's team checks it. Shit, he's right.
Wow.
Levchin says that's key to Musk's influence. He says crazy stuff but then hits you with deep insight. Otherwise, people might just think he's a bullshitter or a goofball.
The duality again. Dismissive, then brilliant.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the PayPal coup, September 2000. Board removes him as CEO while he's away.
Yeah, on vacation and sick. A classic Silicon Valley move, really.
But his reaction, it wasn't explosive.
Surprisingly calm, according to the sources. Showed grace. Sent an email, said time for a seasoned CEO. He'd take a sabbatical, start something new.
He's called a street fighter, but he knew when he was beaten.
Seemed like it. Realistic. When an engineer asked if they should resign and protest, Musk said no.
Called the company my baby. Like the mother in Solomon wouldn't let it be cut in two.
Exactly. Willing to give it up for its survival. Decided to repair things with Thiel and Levchin. Pragmatic, moving forward.
And right after that upheaval, the near-death experience.
Terrifying. Back in South Africa, contracts the worst kind of malaria, falciparum.
Hours from death, doctor recognized it just in time.
Yeah, intensive care, massive drug doses. The HR head visited, told Thiel he was hours away. The doctor had lost his only 2 previous cases.
Jeez. And the Keyman insurance story.
Oh, yeah. Thiel learns there's a $100 million policy on Musk for the company.
And jokes darkly that if Musk died, their financial problems would be solved.
Typical Thiel humor, maybe. But they were genuinely glad he survived. It just adds another layer. The high stakes around it.
He was in intensive care 10 days. Took months to recover.
5 months fully. And his takeaways were stark.
Vacations will kill you. And
Also, South Africa. That place is still trying to destroy me. Reinforces that view of a hostile world, maybe.
Wow. Okay, so after PayPal, after recovery, he learns to fly.
Right, like his father and grandfather. And characteristically, he dives in intensely. 50 hours training in 2 weeks.
But failed his first instrument test. Not good enough. Fail.
Pretty blunt feedback. But he passed the second time. Persistence again.
And this ties into his bigger vision, right? Not just solving problems, but
Pursuing great dreams, inspiring things, making life multiplanetary at the next important step on an evolutionary scale.
Levchin called it his ability to pass off his vision as a mandate from heaven.
A bit cynical, maybe, but captures that unwavering, almost messianic conviction. It's key to his drive.
His first space idea wasn't even a rocket company, though.
No, more like a philanthropic stunt. To inspire NASA funding, first idea, mice to Mars.
But he worried about the tragicomic video of mice slowly dying.
Yeah, shifted to a small greenhouse on Mars, send back pictures of plants, get the public excited.
Which led to that bizarre Moscow trip in 2001, trying to buy old missiles.
Oh man, that sounds wild. The Russian missing a tooth, spitting,
Yeah.
getting mad about capitalists.
Asking who the chief engineer was, Musk says, I am, and the guy spits at them.
Like a movie scene, right. But apparently, it going so badly was fortunate.
How so?
It pushed him. Instead of secondhand rockets for a demo, he thought bigger. Build his own rockets, from scratch. For satellites, people, Mars.
He said he was pretty mad, and when I get mad, I try to reframe the problem. Anger is fuel.
Exactly. And this is where first principles thinking came in strong for rockets.
Thinking about the Russian price, drilling down to the cost of raw materials.
Yep. Develop the idiot index. High cost compared to materials means potential for huge savings through efficient manufacturing.
Translating frustration into analysis.
Right. He tried to hire the engineers from the Moscow trip, like Mike Griffin.
Future NASA administrator. But they didn't join.
Not on his terms. So Musk became chief engineer by default. Hired Tom Mueller.
The guy with the homemade rocket background converted his dad's welding torch.
Yeah, the real hands-on rocket guy. Brought the practical know-how.
And Musk's factory layout idea, breaking the aerospace mold.
Totally. Design, engineering, manufacturing all together. Workers empowered to yell at engineers, why the fuck did you make it this way?
The hand on a stove analogy, immediate feedback loops.
Counter to the old siloed way.
Yeah.
And his management style. High risk tolerance, reality bending will.
Mueller said if you were negative, you weren't invited back.
Right. Drove people hard, but risked yes men maybe. People afraid to question him.
Which led to the algorithm, the 5-point checklist.
Step 1 being the killer. Question all requirements. Don't just accept them.
Demand the name of the person who said it. Military or legal isn't enough.
Exactly. Treat requirements as recommendations unless dictated by physics. Tim Buzza from Boeing found this really hard, ruthless approach to bureaucracy.
And this whole culture got tested hard with the Falcon 1 launches from Kwajalein.
Remote island. Had to move there because the Air Force blocked Vandenberg, potentially helping Lockheed. Musk got impatient.
So they moved everything. Fortunate to have the option, unfortunate it was so inconvenient.
Right, and the first launch failed. 2006. Video showed a fuel leak flame.
Musk exploded at Mueller. How many people told me I should fire you?
Intense. Mueller fires back, "Why don't you just fire me, Musk? I didn't fucking fire you, did I?" Then they watch Team America to de-stress.
Darkness to silly humor. Wow. An engineer left, blamed, but it was corrosion.
Yeah, sea air corroded a peanut. Mueller felt they lost a good engineer. The human cost.
Second launch fails too. Booster bumps the second stage.
Yep. Video goes blank. They know it crashed. But after this, the team got more cautious, more testing.
And even Musk didn't push for warp speed this time. Learned from failure.
Seems like it. A rare moment of caution, maybe.
Third failure, August 2008. Dropping the rocket from a plane. Stress damage.
Yeah, playing too low, metal stressed. Engineer climbs between stages, fixes it partially, but a baffle gets dislodged.
That decision not to use slosh baffles earlier. That was a risk Musk took.
It was a specific risk that turned out to be a mistake. Something NASA or Boeing probably wouldn't have done. Fail fast in action, maybe too fast there.
But then, Launch 4, September 2008, success.
Absolutely crucial. NASA ending the shuttle, needing cargo to ISS, competition announced.
And that success let Musk and Gwynne Shotwell make their case to NASA, a lifeline.
Literally. And right after, Musk pulls Shotwell aside.
On the tarmac. Tells her NASA's worried about him splitting time, needs partner.
Yeah, but partnering isn't easy for him. Offers her president of SpaceX. He does engineering, she does customers, HR, government finance.
And she accepted. Complementary skills.
Yep. Love working with people, and he loves working with hardware. A key partnership formed right there.
But that whole period, 2008, the sources say it nearly broke him.
Almost past his limits. Juggling SpaceX and Tesla near bankruptcies, working constantly, pulling rabbits out of a hat.
Physical toll, weight changes, posture, stiff toes.
All that. But also energized, hyper-focused. The threat of the hangman's noose concentrating his mind seems he thrives, or at least operates under extreme pressure.
People thought he had to choose, though. Friend asked him to just give up Tesla.
Mark Gancosa, yeah, said throw Tesla away if SpaceX was his passion, but Musk refused, held on to both.
Fast forward to 2013, leasing pad 39A from NASA.
Old shuttle pad. Musk, obvious customer. But Bezos competes.
For sentimental reasons, NASA gives it to SpaceX. Bezos sues. Musk is furious.
Absolutely livid. Calls it ridiculous, says Blue Origin hadn't gotten a toothpick to orbit. Ridicules Bezos' suborbital rockets. Very competitive, dismissive of rivals.
Then 2015, Starlink announced, another huge capital-intensive venture.
40,000 satellites in low orbit, just layered on top of everything else.
And Boca Chica, Texas becomes this major Starship hub, buying up houses.
Offering 3x value. Some resist. Musk rents a small 2-bedroom himself there.
The description is great. Basic furniture, Diet Cokes, sci-fi posters, Churchill books, treadmill he doesn't use.
And plans for a whole village, for workers, integrated communities again.
Late 2019, he's frustrated with Starship progress. No perfect domes.
Orders one by dawn. Told it's impossible. Orders them to cut up a rocket barrel for a tool. Stays up all night. Yeah, with the engineers, welders. Finishes around 9 a.m. Admits didn't actually have a dome by dawn, but it shows the demanding deadlines, the improvisation.
And the idea to catch the booster with the launch tower arms? Wild.
Caused consternation. Huge risk if it failed, but they agreed to study it. Pushing boundaries, always.
Then there's the Lucas Hughes incident. Musk in demon mode.
Yeah, the surge compulsion. Hughes, young engineer working crazy hours, summoned late Saturday about robot alignment.
Musk barks, "Did you fucking do this?" Coffin is flustered. Musk calls him an idiot, fires him on the spot.
Basically. Fired Monday. His managers fired soon after. Coffin, sad comment. At least Elon knew their names.
But the context, Hughes had lost his child weeks before, was understandably shaken.
Crucial context Gwynne Shotwell shared. She felt Musk should relate, having lost his first baby too. Suggests she still needed to tell Elon. A really harsh moment highlighting the pressure and maybe a lack of awareness in those modes.
Though the source also says the next day Musk was back to normal, asking Hughes about the idiot index, problem solving.
Right. Shows that rapid shift. The demon mode could pass, replaced by focused fundamental analysis.
April 2023, the experimental Starship launch. Musk nervous beforehand.
Stomach twisted, PTSD from Kwajalein failures, retreats into future planning, common coping mechanism. Talking mammoth factories, new villages. Scaling is the hard part.
His big worry. Are we on a trajectory to get to Mars before civilization crumbles? That huge perspective.
Always. And his risk tolerance.
Hmm.
The slosh baffle mistake on Falcon 1. NASA wouldn't do that.
He believed in fail fast. Learn by blowing things up, revise, repeat.
We don't want to design to eliminate every risk, never get anywhere. So Starship was designed as experimental.
Success criteria. Clear pad, blow up out of sight, provide data.
Which it did. But publicly, yeah, looked like a flaming failure. Musk seemed subdued briefly, but internally they got data.
And he pushes for public demos, right? Neuralink, Starship.
Bring the public in, then they will support us. Live stream the potential explosion, transparency, warts and all.
Okay, shifting to Tesla. The Spark was the Zero prototype.
From AC propulsion. Musk invested $150K, but only if they used lithium-ion batteries. That was key for him.
Result. Fast acceleration, 300-mile range. Proved the battery tech could work in a performance car.
Right. Martin Eberhard, a co-founder, tried to get AC propulsion to build it, but felt they couldn't scale.
So Eberhard starts his own company, licenses tech from them, enlists Mark Tarpning.
Yep, plan. High-end roadster first to change EV perception, build the brand, then mass market.
Eberhard came up with the name Tesla, thinking of Nikola Tesla at Disneyland.
That's the story. Tarpany registered it next day, incorporated July 2003.
By Jan 2005, they have a development mule. Lotus Elise body stuffed with batteries.
A lot of hacking and slashing. But it looked like a car. Had doors, roof, progress.
Test rides were key. Strabel amazed, Eberhard teary-eyed.
Musk zips around, loves the silent acceleration, agrees to invest $9 million more. Performance hooked him.
But Musk's changes burned cash, pushed hiring, led to financial stress.
Big time. By May 2006, 70 staff needed more money. Tarpany tells Musk they're running out sooner than planned because of Musk's hires.
And Musk totally loses it, volatile under pressure.
Definitely. But he was also key to raising the money. Star power in SV. Brought in friends, Brin, Page, Skull.
Board wanted VC firms too. Sequoia called it mission impossible.
Famously, Moritz later admitted underestimating Musk's determination. Vantage Point led the $40 red round.
Though Vantage Point worried about the Eberhard-Musk management duality.
Yeah, but saw it as just the nature of this beast.
Then the press release controversy. Didn't list Musk as founder, called him early investor.
Musk, furious, hadn't seen it beforehand, sent a sharp email, outrageous. Felt his influence was huge, from headlights to trunk, demanded corrections. Very sensitive about his role.
He then takes over the Roadster launch event planning, July 2006.
Totally. Eberhard brings plans. Musk hates them, goes into tiny details like catering costs, walks out when challenged.
Tells Eberhard to fire the colleague. Oversees napkins. Micromanaging style on full display.
Seems so. Focus on image control.
Late 2007, production delays with Lotus. 8 months behind. 800+ problems.
Yeah, messy. Musk makes an impulsive visit to a UK supplier making body panels.
Hikes through mud, sees total failure, tooling not working, hands-on inspection again.
Right, bypassing layers to see the reality.
Okay, jump to 2017. The Model 3 production hells surge at the Gigafactory.
Intense. Battery line problems, a billion problems, workstations fucked up.
Engineers living out of suitcases for months. Working 7 days, crazy hours.
Afshar's experience paints that picture. 5 a.m. coffee with manufacturing guru, work till 10 p.m., wine after, all-consuming crisis mode.
And this is the context for that harsh management again, the Gage coffin firing.
Right. Summoned late Saturday, robot issue, Musk sparks. Did you fucking do this? Gage flustered. Musk, you're an idiot. Get the hell out. Fired Monday. Brutal.
And the flip from automation apostle to de-automation zealot.
Sawing robots out, throwing them in the parking lot, cutting holes in the building. Yeah, if automation was the bottleneck, get rid of it now. Led to the algorithm update. Design first, delete parts, then automate. Don't automate waste.
The Model S design studio. He wanted it near SpaceX, not Tesla HQ. No money for it.
So von Holtzhausen got a corner in the rocket factory near nose cones with a tent. Musk dropped by daily, liked 3D models, physical mock-ups on the patio, tangible feedback.
And the automatic door handles. Engineers hated the idea, called it stupid.
Fought it hard. Space, reliability concerns. But Musk insisted, stop fighting me on this, became a signature feature. His design intuition won.
But also resistance to regulations, the visor sticker, what the fuck is this?
Impatience with rules he didn't set or see the need for. A pattern.
The solar roof project sounds like another area of huge friction. With his cousins.
Enormous friction. Arrived late for inspection, sat in car, then exploded. This is shit. Horrible. Dismissed their compromise version.
Ordered focus only on solar tiles. Demanded impossible growth. Fired leaders.
Cycled through them. Bang table, called one a fucking failure, told another, I fired my cousins and I'll fire you. Yeah. Really brutal when frustrated.
Even made managers install roofs themselves to see how hard it is.
Yep. Ordered them to spend days drilling, hammering, challenged an engineer. How many roofs have you done? Forced hands-on understanding.
Okay, full self-driving, FSD, pushing that hard since 2016.
Aggressively. Vision of total autonomy, summitable car, tried to ditch steering wheels way back then, made robotaxi mock-up.
Saying, this is where the world is going, predicting full autonomy just a year or so away, repeatedly.
Yeah, it became a running joke almost, setting very optimistic timelines.
And the radar decision. January 2021 email. Turn off radar, terrible crutch. Camera only.
Hugely controversial. Autopilot had left. NOIT investigation found engineers had misgivings about relying only on cameras. Highlights his conviction, sometimes overriding internal concerns.
AI Day 2, October 2022. Showcasing Optimus, but also FSD progress.
Neural network planner. Trained on millions of video clips. Simpler stack, faster, less code. Like AI playing a boring video game.
Musk tweeting while the FSD car drove. Confidence or something else?
Hard to say. But showed the system in action, flaws and all.
The next-gen robotaxi factory, planned for Mexico initially.
Highly automated. But then realized he needed engineers on site for feedback, easier manufacturing design.
And getting top engineers to move to Mexico permanently, never going to happen. Back to the co-location principle.
Exactly. And increasingly sees Tesla as an AI company. FSD, Optimus, Dojo supercomputer, physical and virtual worlds, thinking about competing directly with OpenAI for talent.
Which connects to his broader AI concerns, worried for a decade about AI risk.
Deeply. The argument with Larry Page, Page calling him speciest for favoring humans, destroyed their friendship.
Musk's retort, yes, I am pro-human. I fucking like humanity, dude.
Tried to stop Google buying DeepMind.
Yeah, worried about concentrating AI power, which led him to co-found OpenAI.
As a nonprofit competitor.
Yeah.
Focused on safety. Altman was impressed by Musk's technical depth.
Right. Musk also hosted dinners on AI safety, met Obama about regulation.
Obama got it, but wouldn't act.
That's how Musk perceived it. Too slow, maybe.
And Neuralink's rationale.
Yeah.
Partly tied to this AI risk.
Connect humans directly to AI, make it an extension of us, not something separate that goes rogue. That's one stated goal.
And AI needs data. Tesla's cars provide a goldmine. Twitter, too.
Millions of video frames daily from Tesla. 500 ME tweets daily from humans by 2023. Huge data sets for training.
Neuralink's initial mission was medical, helping paralyzed people.
Yes. Bypass spinal damage with brain signals. But then a new mission emerged after a pig barn visit. A gut punch idea. Fucking bold. Hinting at something bigger.
And he's involved in the science. Theory about brain signals being chemical diffusion. Hands-on even there. The animal study showed pigs moving legs via the chip.
But needed to ensure it wasn't just pain reaction. Walk again, but in agony.
Right. Rigorous science needed. Called it insanely mind-blowing Jesus-level stuff, but grounded in physics.
Got FDA approval for human trials quickly. April to May 2023.
Yeah, a big step. And again, push for public demos. Transparency.
Optimus robot. Make it fun, not scary. Like his son X learning by observing.
That's the idea. Mimic humans to learn tasks, not just program line by line.
Late 2021, he's deep in Optimus specs. Faster speed, lift more weight, bigger battery pack.
Vetoed swappable batteries. Many a fool went that route. Wanted 16 hours operation.
Saw a huge business case, more significant than cars. Main driver of profit.
Believe robots working harder than humans could transform labor, industry, eventually homes. Massive potential.
Even down to component costs. Risked DOF. Used cheap Tesla actuators.
Idiot index thinking applied to robots. Wanted 3 DOF, but efficiently. Called initial design shitty. Find cheaper ways using existing parts.
AI Day 2 demo. Optimus shuffled, waved, not polished, but showed progress.
Connected it to FSD, Dojo. Learning by observing.
Yeah.
Transformative potential for economy, life.
And the sources link Optimus to the history of interfaces. Space War, mouse, GUI, voice, now physical robots.
As the next leap, interacting with the physical world directly.
And his maximum truth-seeking AI idea connects back to Hitchhiker's Guide.
Seeking the ultimate answer. Long-standing interests informing current projects.
Okay, shifting to 2022 and Twitter, what was the trigger?
Growing concern about the woke mind virus. Disdained Trump but thought the ban was absurd, felt the right was being censored.
Meeting Parag Agrawal, the CEO, found him likable, but that was the problem.
Yeah, felt Twitter needed a fire-breathing dragon, not someone aiming to be liked. Reflects his own leadership view.
And Twitter offered a chance to fulfill the old X.com PayPal vision.
Social network plus finance. Payments, tips, content monetization, the everything app, gleeful about that prospect.
Funding. Kimball declined. Larry Ellison jumped in for $1.
Ellison saw it as an important real-time news service. Hadn't tweeted in years. Musk reset his password.
Taking over. October 2022, voluntold his cousin James to help. Andrew, too.
Yep, the young musketeers pulled him from birthdays, weddings. They were star students he'd mentored, paid tuition for. Also, Polytopia addicts.
Tasked them immediately with cutting engineers, scouring code. Saw huge inefficiency.
Calculated output was ridiculously low for 2,500 engineers. Something is deeply amiss. Ruthless focus on productivity.
But content moderation, reality bites, lies travel fast, advertiser concerns.
Big problems. Disinfo, scams, hate speech. Initially floated a moderation council idea.
Initially, yes. Agreed to hold off reinstating controversial accounts. Showed some early collaboration.
But then meeting Sachs, Calacanis, Sachs pushing the speech cartel idea, Musk sided with him.
Resonated with his anti-woke views. Sachs helped advise him. Roth reports a fake hate speech campaign. Musk says burn it down, nuke it, shows clear lines against certain content.
Unequivocally. Hate speech has no place, Roth tweeted about taking action.
But days later, Musk tweets the Paul Pelosi conspiracy link, causing outrage. Seems contradictory.
Hugely controversial. Amplifying misinformation from a known bad source. Hard to square with the nuke hate speech stance.
November, he's literally living at Twitter HQ, sleeping on a couch.
Steve Davis, his fixer, moved in with wife and baby into a conference room, all in chaotic takeover mode.
Calls cousins back late Sunday to read internal Slack, find dissenters.
Yeah, Andrew's birthday dinner interrupted. Tasked with rooting out shitposting, negativity. Musk. Free speech isn't for the workplace. Fired 3 dozen based on their list without talking to them.
At least Elon knew their names. That phrase again. Chilling.
It really is.
Meeting Tim Cook, reassured about the App Store. But the data issue for X.com services remains.
Cook calmed fears about removal. Musk decided not to push the data access question then. Future battle. Prioritize keeping the app live.
December, the Twitter files release. Too much for one journalist. Andreessen suggests Bari Weiss.
Musk texts her. Taibbi Weiss published threads. Details on FBI intel input channels. Internal debates on Hunter Biden laptop story suppression.
Flimsy rationales used. Roth, Dorsey later admitted it was a mistake.
That's what the sources suggest the files revealed, trying to justify censorship.
But then fallout with Weiss. She criticizes Musk's journalist bans. He accuses her of virtue signaling, restricts her access.
Yeah, shows his intolerance for public criticism, even from allies.
And major fallout with Yoel Roth. After Roth resigned, fearing mobs.
Musk trains his flamethrower. Tweets Roth's old post linking to an article, implies things. Tweets dissertation excerpt about gay data, Grindr, under 18s.
Saying, looks like Yoel is arguing in favor of children. Stirring outrage. Highly personal attack.
Seen by many that way, yeah. Using academic work inflammatory. Very damaging.
The Dave Chappelle event brings him on stage. Applause, but loud boos.
Chappelle jokes about fired people being there. A very public sign of this reputational hit.
Christmas 2022, the NTT server vendor issue. Demanding videos days before Christmas, ruining holidays.
Frustrated with explanations, wanted visual proof, called managers bullshit. Ruthless intensity, technical demands, even over Christmas. Suspended it briefly out of pity.
But then respite. Family Christmas in Boulder. James Andrew join. X playing Rocket.
A brief moment of normalcy. Kimball cooking, kids playing, connecting amidst the chaos.
Okay, stepping back. Recurring themes. The bullying trauma, wanting to own the playground.
Seems fundamental. A deep driver. And the exaggeration tendency linked to his father.
Working relationships. Extreme toughness. Fights. Firings. But also high standards. First principles.
That duality again. Harshness alongside brilliance. Idiot index. Questioning requirements. Fail fast. Tools he uses constantly.
Wealth.
Yeah.
Conflicted. Wants to build, not just own islands. Puts winnings into the next game.
Seems less about luxury, more about enabling the next venture. Celebrity may be appealing after a lonely childhood.
Personal relationships. Consistently difficult. Justine's view on lack of empathy. Cerebral versus feeling.
She felt that was key. Concedes his wiring might help business emotional distance. Will, but tough personally. felt he had a combative relationship with the world.
Grimes' relationship, not calming, intensity, drama. Kimball calling him a drama magnet.
Yeah, Amber Heard saying he loves fire, sometimes it burns him. Kimball said he falls for toxic types, maybe needs that intense stimuli.
Stress tolerance. Sky high. Forged early. 2008 nearly broke him, but also focused him.
Seems like it. Pressure is fuel, even if damaging.
Father Errol's influence. Complex. Negative. Kimball appalled. Elon supporting him financially, but disturbed by behavior.
The Father's Day email excerpts are shocking. Extreme racism, conspiracy theories. Elon changed address to cut contact. Shows the toxic background he dealt with.
Relationship with Kimball. Fights, but unconditional love. Loan disagreement, but then bonding over Polytopia, Cobra Kai.
Intense swings, disappointment, then moments of deep connection. Cobra Kai themes resonated. Empathy, father issues. Cathartic.
Tallulah Riley. Warm feelings remain, supportive visits, but prefers extreme heat and cold rather than warmth.
Drawn to intensity or solitude, not stable warmth. That's the suggestion.
Children. Complex. Xavier becoming Jenna. Musk wrestling publicly with trans issues. Controversial tweets.
Yeah. Became a platform championing backlash against minor medical support. Older son Griffin shares ethics, sweetness, but hesitant with dad, suggests distance.
Younger son anecdotes show connection. Dancing, playing, twins with Siobhan Zelis. Spends time, feeds them.
Not cuddly, wired differently, but kids light up for him, and he for them, suggests genuine connection despite his nature. Damien cooking at Christmas shows another link.
Living situation. Detached. Sold homes. Rents small place in Boca Chica. Borrows house in Austin. Gets doxxed.
Searching for a base, Zelis harassing him lovingly to find a place for his soul on the Austin horse farm property. A search for belonging.
Emotional distress. Physical symptoms. Stomach pains, throwing up. Not super okay, TBH.
Burning the candle with a flamethrower. Emotions buried under concrete. Declines ayahuasca. Compulsive gambler description, too. Suggests deep, unaddressed turmoil.
And the Polytopia obsession. Wired for war. Intense gaming with Zealous Kimball.
Another outlet for that strategic competitive drive. Learning lessons, understanding opponents, even in a game.
Politics. Twitter acquisition fueled by anti-woke mind virus views. Evolution from Obama fan to railing against Democrats.
Significant shift. The red pill tweet adopted as a right-wing rallying cry.
Trump meeting. Found it odd. Trump hadn't driven Tesla, kept saying get NASA going again. Musk thought Trump kind of nuts.
Unfiltered assessment, friendly but baffling.
Biden admin outreach. Mollified him temporarily with public praise for Tesla. Shows recognition matters.
Even small gestures could impact him, yeah.
Bill Gates meeting. Tense. Gates' philanthropy overshadowed by Musk's fury over Gates shorting Tesla.
Absolutely. Short sellers, his innermost circle of hell. Gates apologized, didn't help. Gates, super mean, can't take it too personally. Shows Musk's deep grudges against perceived enemies.
Ukraine invasion. SpaceX quickly sent Starlink. Became life or death for Ukrainian military comms. Unexpected geopolitical role.
Huge impact. Musk's responses, initially simple, cool, sounds good. But the tech played a critical role.
And his father's extreme political views. The email excerpts again. Shows the background he's reacting against, maybe.
Possibly. Or just the environment he emerged from. He clearly distanced himself.
His public stance on trans issues, the Yoel Roth controversy, amplified by Twitter, damaged reputation.
Definitely. Using the platform to champion backlash, attack critics personally. Very visible, very controversial.
And the Chappelle event boos, audible sign of that damage.
A real-time measure of public perception shift.
So, wrapping this deep dive, what a journey covered in these sources. Childhood trauma to world-changing companies. Vision and turbulence.
Yeah, we've seen the roots of the risk-taking, that duality of harsh management and technical brilliance, the personal struggles fueling professional ambition, the shift into AI, robotics.
Looking at this whole complex picture, what does it tell you, the listener, about innovation, leadership, the cost of huge goals?
It forces you to grapple with it, right? His drive, the drama, the difficult nature seem inseparable from the achievements.
Which leads to that provocative thought. Could you get the rockets, the EVs, the AI progress without all aspects of him, the genius and the controversial figure?
Maybe. Maybe great innovators are just wired differently. Risk-seeking, messy, maybe toxic sometimes.
Yeah.
But crazy enough to think they can change the world. And maybe that combination is what it takes.
It's definitely a lot to think about. A fascinating, complex individual shaping our times.